Okay, today I'm listening to The Pines of Rome by Ottorino Respighi, written in 1924. This is a tone poem for orchestra, and as you can see, this score is nothing special. It's just downloaded off of IMSLP. I think I downloaded it at one point looking for like excerpts to share with my orchestration class at the time. But I think I've only listened through the thing once on my own, and today I'm going to be listening to it again. So this piece is a part of a trilogy of orchestra pieces, the first one being Fontane di Roma, 1916, and after The Pines of Rome is Festa Romane, 1928. Yeah, each movement of this piece depicts a setting of a Roman city with pine trees. So pine trees near a catacomb on the Januculum Hill and along the Appian Way and in the Villa Borghese gardens. So these are all specific sites in Rome. It was premiered on the 19th of December, the 14th of December, 1924, conducted by Bernardino Molinari, and it was published a year later in 1925. The instrumentation is 3-3-3-3, so triple winds, and then 4-4-3-1 for the brass, and 6 Bucin. These are, I guess, natural horns or natural trumpets that were used by the ancient Roman army. And they come in different sizes, so you could, for this piece, you would want 2 sopranos, 2 tenors, 2 basses, and then they could be alternatively played with flugelhorns or sax horns. So that tells me that they are like still a cylindrical brass instrument, but with a little bit more of a flared bell. So just a little bit more of a mellow sound than like a trumpet or a trombone. Yeah, the percussion has timpani, bass drum, snare drum, cymbals, tam-tam, triangle, ratchet, tambourine, glock, organ, piano, and then in addition to the percussion, we got organ, piano, celesta, harp, gramophone, and strings. I don't know where the gramophone comes in here, but you can see on the first page alone there's a lot of percussion. We have the triangle, bells, celesta, harp, and piano. So you do need separate keyboardists for the celesta and piano. I kind of wish this article told us how many percussionists. That would be nice to know. But yeah, it's a very large orchestra. You can see, like, with the doublings, third flute doubles piccolo, third oboe's on English horn, third clarinet is on bass, third bassoon's on contra. In addition to the 3 trumpets in B flat, there's an offstage trumpet in C, third trombone's on bass. You get the idea. An edited version of the piece was used in Fantasia 2000, if you remember the humpback whale animation. Respighi was an Italian composer born in 1879. He died in 1936. He was also a violinist, teacher, and musicologist. He wrote operas, ballets, orchestra suites, choir pieces, chamber music. He transcribed Italian compositions from the 1500s to 1700s. And his 3 tone poems about Rome are by far his most performed work, this being maybe even the most performed of the 3. He died quite young at the age of 56, and his then wife outlived him for about 60 years, championing a lot of his work until her death in the 1990s. He caught his big break in 1918. Conductor Arturo Toscanini approached him asking for a composition for orchestra. He had just premiered Fountains of Rome the year prior and gave that to the conductor, and this was a huge success when it was performed under Toscanini's baton. So at this point the composer would have been just a bit over 40 years old. So that's quite late to be building your composition career, I think. In the 20s he toured the world, including America. So this is sort of, this gap between the two world wars. A lot of composers from Europe sort of toured America, like I'm thinking Rachmaninoff, Prokofiev, and Respighi was one of those types of composers who was at a good age to take advantage of this like booming decade before, of course, Europe was plunged into war. I guess because he died in 1936, he was never really a post-war composer. So his sort of like legacy is sort of trapped in this sort of like era before the atomic age. It's quite late to still be writing romantic music, but it's not so strange, Hopefully that's enough background for you and piques your interest. There's not a lot of 20th century Italian romantic composers, but Respighi is one of them. I guess this recording is going to be Fritz Reiner conducting the Chicago Symphony Orchestra in 1959. Okay, yeah, so I apologize if I don't have much to say about this one. I'm recording quite tired, and I should probably have just been taking a nap and done this later, but it's obviously a very attractive score to look through. I highly recommend looking through the score. It's very easy to get a PDF, as I mentioned, and it's very easy to follow because the last three movements are quite slow. There's so many big climactic moments that you really get a lot of just brass melodies, which you can follow easily in the score as you listen. There's, of course, that giant clarinet excerpt at the beginning of the third movement. I think the third movement was my favorite. I liked I guess there was an inclusion of gramophone with the bird calls at the end. I think you could do just as well with magnetic tape in the 1950s, or I guess nowadays you would probably just use like some digitally recorded bird song. But that was a nice, like, weird, otherworldly thing that happened. And I really like how long that clarinet solo is at the beginning of that movement. The opening movement is also probably the most extreme section of the piece. Like, it's very high, and it's all in the treble register of the orchestra for a good almost 3 minutes. And I think this has some really gnarly, like, celesta excerpts and glockenspiel excerpts. If you're looking to write, like, film music or anything else that's influenced by romantic orchestral music, this is a really good go-to score just for, like, orchestration ideas. It's just very well orchestrated, and it's almost like textbook stuff, tried and true things that work just throughout the whole piece. That being said, it's not a terribly original piece. Like, I think there was a lot of other things being written in the 20s that were a bit more distinctive. Respighi's voice, I don't know what to compare it to, really. It's just very kind of like kind of French, a little bit more operatic, maybe. He writes good melodies. They're a little bit square, but they're always very nice. There's a lot of dotted rhythm stuff in this, which has this big grand like French overture sound kind of thing. All the comments seem to love it, so it's clearly a very successful piece. And yeah, it's only 20 minutes long. These movements fly by. They're not really that long. So, yeah, a nice little tone poem. If you have a large orchestra, I think this would be a really good one to program. You know, it's like kind of a no-brainer. It gives the percussion all kinds of stuff to do. It's fun. It gets the last movement will get your audience all riled up, and I think it could be a really good closer on any sort of like romantic program. Next up is going to be Pictures at an Exhibition. So this is a piece by Mussorgsky, obviously. We're going to be looking at the Ravel orchestration, I believe. And it's going to be another sort of like classic orchestration class. You know, write an essay about a passage from it kind of piece. We'll continue with that in a couple of days.